Lot 2015, welcome back. This is Star Kuiper coming to you courtesy of the Star Vegas family of networks. We got a lot to cover today. I know each of you have had about 3 birthdays since the last time we spoke about fantasy football. So you can thank your commissioners for that, lining up the draft in week 2 of the preseason. Great idea there, fellas. Must be some asshat with the same first name as McShay. But anyway, I digress. Let's get into it. Outlaw at Ben. Outlaw getting 9 in this one. Look, Giovanni Bernard, the North Carolina product, little diminutive running back, going to play second fiddle to Jeremy Hill this year. Looking at only 6 to 8 touches in this game. Not really thrilled about the prospect of him putting up big fantasy production this week. A real drawback in Outlaw's lineup. Moving on down to his second running back position, the big Nebraska standout, Amir Abdullah, gotten all kinds of hype in the preseason about how he's going to take Joique Bell's job. Well, guess what, folks? Joique Bell came off the PUP list, and all of a sudden, Joique Bell's the starter, and Abdullah's third string. Look, I know, I'm not stupid. Abdullah's going to get run. He's going to get third down touches. I get all that. So look for him to maybe touch the ball 8 to 10 times, some targets coming out of the backfield, but wouldn't be what I'm comfortable with as an RB2 in my lineup. Getting over to Ben's side of the ball, lots of solid production up and down the lineup. Looking at the Purdue product, Drew Brees, entering the twilight of his career, can still get it done. You know, you move on down the lineup, you look at Adrian Peterson, the stud out of Oklahoma. If we can keep him from beating his kids with a stick, he's going to be great on the fantasy gridiron this year. You know, and then you move on down to the Thursday night spectacular there in New England. You got Edelman and Gronk going out of the same receiving core there for Ben. Really like what those guys bring to the table. Star Kuiper's got Ben to win and cover. All right. Moving on to Mama at Scoresman. Mama getting 9 in this tilt. Starting a second-string running back in the flex position. Come on, Mama, this isn't a 32-team league. Ryan Matthews, the Fresno State product. He's not even the best running back on his own team. Hell, he might not even be the third best running back on his own team. And you're going to start him in the flex? I don't know. It's just not a good scenario. You know, so we're looking at the starting kicker. Hartley got cut. You know, what are we looking at now? Kickergate? You know, during pregame warmups, is Mama going to sneak off to the add drop zone in the league and put up another kicker? Hey, I tell you, for the sake of competition and the integrity of the league, I say we go ahead and let him add a kicker. You know, we don't want to make this seem biased. I'm calling it Goodelling. It's like this. You know, just turn a blind eye to it and we'll all be good. Okay? So then we move over to Scoresman's side of the house. You know, I like the balance in Scoresman's roster as well. Should be enough to overcome the 20 that Luck's going to put up against the Bills. So I like Scoresman in this tilt to win and cover. Moving on down, we got Fuff at Kitty. Fuff's getting 2. Look, Devonta Freeman, the second-year product out of Florida State, got a lot of juice, powerful little runner. We like all that, but the bottom line is he's been hampered by a hamstring injury in the preseason, and he's not even the starter on his own team. So, again, don't know what to expect out of a guy who's not going to be getting the starting touches, so it might be a drawback for Fuff. I do love the Jets' D going up against that inept Cleveland offense. It's going to be really telling. Young quarterback there, young offensive line. I think the Jets can really get after it, cause some sacks, cause some turnovers. Lots of upside there with the Jets' defense. So, Fuffachek, as I'm calling him, because he's keeping us all in suspense about his starting quarterback. Is it going to be Eli? Is it going to be Brady? Does he want the double rainbow with Odell Beckham Jr.? Nobody knows. So, Fuffachek, come to the podium and let us know who you're starting. We want to know, okay? Over to Kitty's side, another balanced lineup. Not sure the quarterback play is going to be enough this week. You know, Russell Wilson, the diminutive quarterback out of NC State, not putting up a whole lot of passing yards over the course of his career. Yes, he does have Jimmy Graham now, but look, the complexion of that Seattle offense is not going to change. They are still a run-first system, so don't expect great production out of Russell Wilson. You know, 4 players in the Green Bay-Chicago game, I'm never a fan of that. You know, it's hard to get good production. It always puts sort of a stranglehold on your production when you have 4 players competing for points in the same game. So with all that being said, I've got the upset special going to Fuff. Let's move it over to Hooligan at Starfish. Starfish is getting 2 in this matchup, a home dog, if you will. Look, for Hooligan, Big Ben, the product out of Miami of Ohio, should be slinging it all over the field tonight. You got to try and keep up with the New England cheaters. You know, no Le'Veon Bell, pardon me, means more throws for Ben. Getting over to Starfish's side, Randall Cobb, the standout slot receiver from the University of Kentucky, is not 100%. Still got that shoulder strain, limiting his productivity on the field. The Texans' D, normally a fantasy juggernaut as far as defenses goes, sacking the quarterback, getting interceptions, causing turnovers. Not so this week, going up against a Kansas City offense that likes to run the ball. If you're talking about 60 plays, they're going to run it 55 between Jamal Charles and Nile Davis. So look for the Texans to not get as much fantasy production from the defensive side as usual. I like Hooligan to win and cover in this game. Moving down to our game of the week. Yes, folks, I've got Stinker at Shark, the game of the week. It's Pick'em. This is a really close matchup. Stinker opens up his 2014 title defense on the road with a good matchup against Land Shark, a perennial powerhouse here in the lot. Aaron Rodgers, University of California product, still will have success against the Bears. No Jordy Nelson, dinged up Randall Cobb, not going to matter. Really bad secondary in Chicago, not a whole lot of defense being played there. I like Lamar Miller, the local product out of the University of Miami, playing for the Dolphins, going up to Washington. Another bad defense. Look for him to get his season off on the right foot. And lastly, I look for DeAndre Hopkins, the product out of the U, looking to have, the product out of Clemson. Reading my notes wrong here already. Week 1, we're off to a bad start. DeAndre Hopkins out of Clemson. Look for him to really, really flourish this week and bring it against the Kansas City secondary. On Shark's side of the fence, we got D'Angelo Williams. Look, he's not going to make people forget about Le'Veon Bell. This ex-Memphis Tiger, his best years are behind him. He's not going to bring them back to glory tonight, especially against a pretty good New England defense. I like it if Jeffrey plays tonight. We got the all-SEC hookup. You got Cutler out of Vanderbilt. You got Jeffrey out of South Carolina getting the SEC going there. That could be beneficial, the double rainbow, if you will, for Shark. But the big question mark is, does Alshon Jeffrey play tonight? And then love the Seattle defense. It's a bad St. Louis offense, got no offensive line there, got Foles, not really a mobile quarterback. Could lead to a bunch of sacks there for Seattle. So really close game, but there are a couple of chinks in Sharks lineup, and I've got Stinker to win the game of the week in Week 1. So Star Kuiper, got your Week 1 picks here. Don't need to tune into CBS and their lack of news and fantasy production. I'm the best game in town, so come here for all you need with your fantasy needs. So before I bumble over any more of this, I'm going to sign off. You guys have a great Week 1. We'll see you in Week 2. Bye-bye.